Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And it's time for another daily dose of Dismal Disney. The honeymoon is over. Disney had its Q1 earnings call the other day. The stock was up. The stock is back down.
Yep.
And part of that might be the rumor that, or at least willingness, that Bob Iger will part with Hulu.
I'm not really surprised because we've talked about that on our own, you and I, before about how Hulu keeps losing, like a lot of the different shows and networks that are on there all having their own streaming services, so they're all pulling after their contracts are up. And we wondered how long it was going to be till they had to combine Disney Plus and Hulu anyway to make it, enough to even charge for.
Yeah, we're kind of seeing it right now with Disney Plus having more adult content on it. That does seem like it could be plan B. Like, well, we let Hulu go and then we just move all the Fox stuff, FX stuff over to Disney Plus.
And when they're talking about how they have to cut costs of streaming, then they wouldn't have to pay for two different.
Right. So, I mean, it's possible. He's not saying they're going to do that, but let's remember Disney needs to save a lot of money. They overspent on Fox. Contrary to however Bob likes to spin it, they way overspent on Fox. I think they're in over their heads and trying to become a streaming company.
Well, this also plays into him saying too that they were talking about like doing a Warner Brothers and selling off some of their content to other streamers. Well, why would you do that when you can put it on Hulu unless you're going to get rid of Hulu? So it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So let's talk about this. He just mentioned it offhandedly to CNBC, of course. Always CNBC.
And always CNBC, yes.
Owned by Comcast, which owns the other 33% of Hulu and is rumored to possibly want to buy back the rest of it. So let's talk about this before we get into it any further. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Over 292,000 subs, almost 293,000 subs. Thank you for the support. Go out to piratesandprincesses.net for more objective Disney news. And we've also reactivated the podcast over there. We just talked about the Q1 earnings call yesterday on a new episode. Any article has the podcast embedded. You can find it over there. But this happened after we did that podcast episode. The Bob Iger said there's a willingness to sell Hulu. It's a reversal in strategy. Remember when they were going all in on streaming? They were going to spend whatever they had to spend on streaming, and they were just going to throw money at it.
They even said, like Chapek said, it was a quantity over quality.
Yes.
And it's bit them in the ass.
It has bit them in the ass, yes, because they lost some subscribers. Now, a lot of them were overseas subscribers, but on Disney Plus, they basically hit the ceiling. Hulu, they keep bleeding Hulu customers dry. I mean, it started out like $30 a month, and now it's like $75 a month.
Well, what's going to be interesting to me, though, is if they get rid of Hulu, how is that going to impact their Disney Plus numbers? Because they were kind of making, if you had Hulu and stuff, that you had the bundle, that you had the bundle with ESPN and Disney Plus, they can count those numbers. So if they sell Hulu and people who are there have Disney Plus and ESPN, but they really just wanted Hulu, that's what we have, and we really just watch Hulu. What's going to happen? People are going to just cancel that because they're like, well, I don't want the other, so I just want Hulu. How is that going to impact their numbers, which is going to in turn impact their stocks? And
they'll spin it like, well, we divested ourselves from Hulu, and so you're going to see a drop in total subscribers. Because what they're doing is it's really interesting math because they're counting the total number of subscribers or total number of subscriptions to services. And so one household could count 3 times because you've got ESPN, Hulu, and Disney Plus, and they're making you connect your accounts now. So when one person counts for 3 after you get rid of Hulu, it is going to definitely take a big chunk out of your numbers, and they're going to have to account for that.
Well, those probably give more free subscriptions and claim that they count as paid ones.
Yeah, probably. So these are the bullet points. Bob Iger told CNBC everything was on the table with regard to Hulu's ownership. They own 66% of Hulu. Comcast owns remainder. It was originally Comcast, which is NBC, Disney, which is ABC, and then Fox.
Right.
And it was, remember when Hulu started and it was free? But it was actually all the major broadcasters went in on Hulu, and now we're down to Comcast and Disney. Comcast execs believe Hulu could supercharge its streaming efforts beyond Peacock, and they have the money. They've got money because they didn't blow it on Fox. Iger and Comcast CEO Brian Roberts have a strong working relationship. according to sources.
Okay, so it does sound like there's something going on, a little something going on in the back end here.
Yeah, Iger said Thursday in an exclusive CNBC interview, of course, with David Faber, that everything is on the table with regards to Hulu's future.
Which is an interesting shift because before it was brought up in investor calls about how they were going to have to pay the rest of Hulu, they were going to pay Comcast for it by 2024. And they've mentioned it before. And it went from that was like for sure they were doing it to, well, maybe we're going to sell it now.
Yeah. So this sounds like a very David Zaslav move.
Well, he seems to be studying Zaslav. Zaslav says Warner Brothers are going to sell content of their streamers. Then here comes Iger. Hey, we're going to sell our probably Fox shit to other streamers.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're going to do. I mean, because it's not making money for them directly. And he flat out said during the earnings call, he said, a lot of the stuff we spend a lot of money on is not bringing the revenue that we expect it to bring. And we're going to have to curate our content a lot better. And we don't want to get rid of linear TV or count out movie theaters because, frankly, they're going to make a lot more money off a Marvel movie than they're going to make off a Marvel TV show because they're not gaining subscribers. The whole purpose of spending all that money on Star Wars and Marvel content was to get people to sign up for Disney Plus because they couldn't get it anywhere else. And now that everybody who wants it has it, there's really nothing to be gained.
Right. Well, here it says, I was right. It says that the two worked at a deal which Comcast can force Disney to buy or Disney can require Comcast to sell the remaining 33% in January of 2024. So that's what I thought. The two were kind of locked into that. So there's talk that they might be trying to drive the price down to get Comcast to not sell it as much.
Or Comcast could buy it.
Yes, or Comcast could buy it. Yes.
Yeah, so this is what Iger said. He said, we're intent on reducing our debt. I've talked about general entertainment being undifferentiated. I'm not going to speculate if we're a buyer or a seller of it. Again, I'm not going to speculate if we're a buyer or seller of it. But
you just said you were going to be a seller of it. You said so in the earnings call. You said so in other things previously.
Yes, but I'm concerned about undifferentiated general entertainment. We're going to look at it objectively. 5 months ago, Bob Chapek said he'd like to own all of Hulu tomorrow if he could. Chapek's strategy revolved around eventually tying Hulu together with Disney Plus to give consumers a hard bundle, which has not been that popular with some people.
But that was Iger first because he was doing it first. He was the one that was, and he was one wanted to keep them separate. Like he wanted Disney Plus and Hulu, as their own distinct entities. But owning Hulu and Disney Plus, that was under Iger.
Yes. So there's a lot of backpedaling on things that Bob Chapek got blamed for that I don't think were Bob Chapek's.
Well, he merged them, and I know Iger was pissed about. Like he kind of blurred the lines a bit by putting more adult stuff on Disney Plus and stuff, and he knew he was not happy about. But Iger set this up.
I think they're kind of looking at it now, like, well, wait a second. If we have, the ability to filter out adult content to put up a wall to wall off the adult content. Why do we need Hulu again?
Yeah, that's exactly what the whole thing was.
Other than live TV. Now, here's the problem, because the thing, and we talked about this before we started recording, a lot of the Hulu channels are probably going to go away because as the deals expire, a lot of these other networks are going to take their ball and they're going to go to their own streaming platforms.
Or they're going to have Disney pay a lot of money for it and Disney doesn't want to.
Or they can't.
Yeah.
So all they're going to be left with anyway are probably Disney-owned channels. And if that's the case, you just put live Disney TV on Disney Plus. You just run ABC, Disney Channel, Fox, all that stuff on Disney Plus as a live TV tab. Tubi already does it. They do it with the Fox News channels and other stuff they own. Roku does it. They've got the Roku channels. There is no need to have Hulu as a separate thing.
But what's going to happen is people who want live TV are going to go over to YouTube,
Yes.
or they're just going to cut all these people completely and just go back to cable.
Well, okay, so there's a lot of talk about that. Basically, people are like, yeah, we tried the streaming thing. We're actually paying more for all these streaming channels, and the hell with it. I'm just going to go back and watch linear TV. There's a whole bunch of millennials that are watching like MASH and Golden Girls reruns now on linear TV because they're like, there are too many choices on streaming. I don't want to have to subscribe to 50 different things. I don't have the money to subscribe to 50 different things. I don't have the time to watch everything on these 50 different streaming services. So the hell with it, I'm just going to watch MASH.
Yeah.
And there were articles out there about it, and I'm like...
So I think this actually might bite him in the ass in that regard too.
Yeah, so Chapek had a conversation in 2021 to try and escalate the sale of Hulu, according to people familiar with the matter.
Right.
Roberts floated a number of possible ideas, including Disney selling ESPN to Comcast.
Yes, I do remember that.
Which that would not be a good idea, I don't think.
Well, people were speculating they were going to drop ESPN, but they're doubling down on it. It's actually one of their core 3 things they're focusing on.
They said no substantive conversations have occurred since. Despite the shrinking pay TV subscriber base, ESPN and many cable networks still rake in a lot of profit, something Disney wasn't willing to give up, especially as it helps to fund the streaming business. The people said, Iger said this week that while a spinout was considered in his absence, it was concluded ESPN should stay with Disney.
Yeah, they were going to talk about selling, yes.
Yes. And that people had rumors about that too. But he said they can still juice linear TV, broadcast TV. They can juice movie theaters. Another proposition was to have Comcast buy out Hulu. Now, they have a lot more money than, and actually, I mean, that's what's disgusting about that, though, is people cut the cord. They got away from Comcast. and then Comcast turns around and buys Hulu.
Well, here's the kicker about that, though. So if Comcast buys it, Disney's going to, give their competition a leg up.
Yeah.
However, I don't think they have a right to just go sell it to somebody else at this point. It has to be one or the other, according to the deal they had already set forth.
Yeah, I think what's probably going on is Iger's probably trying to talk his way out of that initial deal that, they were forced to buy it or whatever. Is probably like, well, hey, yeah, we can't. We don't have the money to, so.
Yeah, but he's not going to want to sell it to Comcast either because he's given the competition, a big leg up. And so, but what else other options does he have? Because
Apple.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that deal they have is one or the other has to buy the other one out by 2024. He can't just go turn around and sell it to Apple.
No, I think I think he's probably trying to sweet talk Comcast into taking it back. Comcast has the money, and honestly, I'm good. This is.
It's for sale for $71-point-something billion.
The irony, because we talked about Tubi before. Tubi was freaking brilliant. This is what I don't understand about Disney Plus. Rupert Murdoch bought Tubi, which was an existing streamer, and it wasn't great. I mean, they had a lot of old stuff on it, right? But the framework was there. He bought it for $500 million. Disney could have purchased Tubi for $500 million and built Disney Plus on the back of the framework that was already in place.
But they needed something quick. And honestly, them having that saved their ass.
Yeah. But no, I'm just saying, they could have bought another existing platform and just repurposed it as Disney Plus instead of spending years in development. And then when they rolled out Disney Plus, it was broken for the first couple days.
Well, Disney doesn't take their sloppy seconds unless they're repurposing rides from their other parks overseas.
Yeah, right. Just retheme
No, but here's the thing. If 2024 Comcast could force Disney to buy them out, or Disney could force Comcast to buy them out, or whatever they're going to do. I was Comcast, I'd be like, hey, you're paying for it. But then Disney, they paid for it. They can turn around and sell it to somebody else, and they own the whole thing, and they might recoup some of their money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They could technically get that $71 billion back. I mean,
yeah. And he's got to have to do what he's got to do, because I think Peltz backed off. Nelson Peltz backed off
for now.
I think he was given a reprieve, but I think it's going to be like Monsters Inc. It's like he's always watching, and
yeah, if not him, I think it's going to embolden other people to pounce as well if they feel they need to.
Yeah, so it's so weird to see everybody walk it back on the streaming wars. I mean, even Netflix, they were shutting down animated productions. They bought this animation campus and all that shit, and they were shutting stuff down left and right, and they're like, yeah, we're just gonna focus on stuff that actually brings views. Everybody was in this arms race. It was kind of like to the bottom of the barrel, and they way overspent. All these companies way overspent, trying to attract people, and then it turned out that it wasn't really worth it anyway, because there's a finite amount of people that want to watch your streaming shit. They're willing to pay for streaming shit.
Which is why I think he was bundling things, because a finite amount of people want to watch Hulu, a finite amount of people want to watch Disney Plus, a finite amount of people want to watch ESPN, so they stick them all together. There's going to be some overlap, but there's going to be a lot of people who just watch one or the other, but are paying for all three,
Yeah, so they bring up Nelson Peltz again. They talk about, the Fox assets, the $71 billion pick. Again, how many... We talked about this in the Pirates and Princesses podcast. Did we mention the Pirates and Princesses podcast? We talked about this. How many theme parks could you have built for $71 billion? You could have fixed all of your existing theme parks, paid all your people more, and built like at least 5, 6, 7 new theme parks for that much money. And meanwhile, Comcast, the money they saved on Fox, they're building Epic Universe and they're bringing Nintendo. Like, Disney's going to lose it. They're going to lose on so many fronts. They're going to lose the streaming wars because they got stupid, and they're going to lose the theme park business because they haven't kept up and they're gouging people, and Mario's coming, and you ask a kid if they want to go see Mario or Mickey Mouse, they're going to say Mario.
Probably.
You know?
And Minions.
Mario and Minions, and problematic Harry Potter. But yeah, they apparently Comcast tried, and I forgot about that. They tried to buy Disney back in 2004 for $54 billion. And,
now Iger just spends that on Fox, or more than that on Fox.
Yeah, but they said that they have a really good relationship. Iger and Roberts have a good relationship.
Well, hopefully they can work something out. But I mean, it sounds to me that if Disney decides to unload it, that they're gonna get Comcast to buy it. Probably.
So that means all those people that cut the cord. It's like, yay! I don't have my Comcast bill every month. Shit.
But I'm very interested to see how this affects subscriber numbers. If they would break it off, I want to see how that affects, because I know that was the Hail Mary pass, was to combine all three into one, acquire it for the package.
Yep.
So if they cut one out, what's that going to do? I really would like to see where that goes. It's still going down.
Yeah, it's going down. So now we're actually, the stock is dropping below where it was before the earnings call.
Probably because everybody's wondering what the hell's going to happen if they sell it.
Yeah, pretty much, because
part of their valuation is Hulu.
Oh my God, yeah, it's been a long time. Oh yeah. Well, good luck with that. We'll see. Yep. We'll see what happens. So we're gonna wrap this up.
Yep.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.